If you're familiar with the legacy graphics builder, you've probably wondered how to move your existing projects over to the native HTML5 Web HMI. In this section, we're going to walk through the Graphics Migration Assistant and navigate the different scenarios you may encounter. To be clear, this is not going to be a one-button migration process. You will need to manually verify and update many objects. However, this tool will make the process much faster. Before we begin, I have a handful of legacy graphics builder pages already created, but no TGML pages so far. These consist of a handful of floor plans with some custom genies, as well as a one-line diagram that may look familiar. This project has also been compiled. The assistant will return an error if not. I've also copied over the separate Migration Assistant tool installer. This is a separate download, not included on the installation disk. Let's go ahead and run that as administrator. The installation process is quick and has good defaults. In addition to the Graphics Migration Assistant icon on the desktop, if I navigate to the folder C Drive, Program Files x86, Schneider Electric, Power Operation, your version number, Applications, Graphics Migration Assistant, there is a PDF user guide available that will walk you through the procedure I'm going to demonstrate, so feel free to use this as a reference. Back on the desktop, let's open the Migration Assistant. First, I want to verify my project is selected in the top left. Next, I'll choose which pages I want to migrate. For now, I'll select all. But if the TGML pages already exist in my project, I'll want to uncheck them or they'll be overwritten. At the bottom left, there's a checkbox to generate missing objects. This will attempt to create components in Graphics Editor when there is no exact match in the mapping file. The key word here is attempt, as there will definitely be manual modification necessary. I can also open the mapping file here. We will come back to this later. Finally, I will begin processing. The Migration Assistant will process each page selected and generate a TGML file to the best of its abilities. Once completed, I can open the Logs folder, which will hold the information above, or the Dumps folder, which will help us later in building new components for migration. As I said, this is only the first pass of the Migration Assistant. At this point, I can open the Graphics Editor and verify the migration. This is an absolutely necessary step in the process because there are many objects that cannot be migrated. If I go to open a file, I already notice an issue. The assistant only maps graphics pages to TGML. It has no knowledge of my menu configuration, so I will have to organize my files into folders to match the old pagemenu.dbf. Next, I'll open my main floor plan. You'll notice there's not much here compared to my original in Graphics Builder. The basic text and numeric objects have been created and bound correctly. However, most of the objects on this page were bitmap graphics, which do not transfer over. Instead, the tool created orange placeholder objects to indicate where an object should be and its size. I can copy and paste from Graphics Builder using Microsoft Paint as an intermediary to move the bitmaps back onto my page. Also, note that there are no link objects in this component. Remember that linking was done with SciCode, which we no longer have access to. In fact, any client-side SciCode will need to be recreated in Graphics Editor using the objects available here. Below, the Migration Assistant attempted to create my custom genie, but didn't quite get everything across. We have other ways to create genies, so I'll come back to this later. We have more success with the one-line diagram. The tool mapped the sources, buses, and standard breakers directly to components. Bus and breaker numbers and the source active conditions all came over correctly. However, I do need to set my active colors, because those weren't part of the original genies. Also, I seem to recall these were originally medium voltage breaker genies. We'll see later how to fix that. This should give you a good idea of how the basic graphics migration process works, and more importantly, that it needs to be verified. Next, we'll modify the import mapping to turn these into medium voltage breakers. Until then, thank you.